As now Senator Doug Jones takes his place here at Capitol Hill, it is go time. The Senate is working on a budget as Jones is working on getting acquainted with his new job. We purchased the leatherback gear armored panel and the bullet blocker clear backpack. We're going to put them to the test. And you might see also multiple people here coming up to the crime tape. I can tell you this scene, definitely one of the harder ones to come to. Lots of people appear to be grieving. They seem to be finding out about these deaths, and it's taking a toll on the people who are gathered here. They want everyone to know they're open. You can see it's kind of crumpled, sort of like an accordion, which is just insane when you think about what those winds can do. Allegedly printing hundreds of these cards to use these numbers before victims even realized they were compromised. And if you think preserving this behemoth is simple, think again. This just goes to show you the power of these winds, ripping this tree up from the roots. Mostly what I'm hearing from school leaders here is a big thank you for parents, to staff, to students, and also to law enforcement. There was relief on so many faces we talked to here today, and that's because this project was just such a big secret, and now they finally don't have to keep it to themselves. Now, it was so secret that it was actually given a code name, Project New World. And when you talk to public officials here, it's really not hard to see why it was called that. 4,000 jobs and a $1.6 billion investment, but perhaps the best view of just what happened here can be seen from above. We're going to show you now some video from Sky 19 earlier today, and you can clearly tell the path that this storm took. Guys, this thing is huge, but it's actually kind of small on space terms.
That's true. If you look at the entire Space Launch System rocket, it's a very large rocket. Think Saturn V size. It's that big. This is just a small piece of the rocket.
Greg, here in Cortland, a doctor says there are streets where people are affected by illnesses, and advocates say it's because of the water. They handed out fresh bottles to people here today.
Here you go.
In Cortland, a grassroots effort is waging a war against time, carrying a burden, their fears about health and water quality.
There were 54 cases of cancer all across the board. There was 14 cases of renal failure and 11 cases of autism just on 2 streets in this small town.
Brenda Hampton is leading the charge to give away thousands of these bottles and confidentially collect residents' health information for research.
You get your slips, then you can come through here and we'll give you the water. We're trying to get them some clean water because right now we do have a need.
She says it's personal.
I lost my mother to renal failure. I lost my grandmother to renal failure, my grandfather to renal failure.
Daniel Allen came to Tennessee Street for a case.
It's hard to afford when you have to go out and buy bottled water every.
Many we spoke with say they've been suffering for years.
I spent nearly 2 years on a dialysis machine, waiting on a kidney. I was one of the luckiest that got a kidney transplant, but I know several from this general area that weren't so lucky. Several passed away waiting on one.
After the advocate's announcement Friday, Thomas Ray says he won't be drinking from his tap.
Not now, I'm not.
Those like him want an end to their confusion, an answer about what's been happening to them, and accountability for who may be responsible.
Been going through it for so long, it's just got normal, but I don't like it. I mean, we gotta do something about this.
That's why Hampton says she'll labor on.
I'm going to fight until my last breath.
Now, they had about 5,000 bottles of water to give away here. They've since stopped for the evening. But the advocates want to be clear, this is not an effort that had started today. It is not an effort that has ended this evening. They say as the study continues, as things progress there, they want to make sure that they're doing what they can to get clean water to the people who want it. Live in Cortland, Kristen Conner, WHNT News 19. As now Senator Doug Jones takes his place here at Capitol Hill, it is go time. The Senate is working on a budget as Jones is working on getting acquainted with his new job.
Congratulations, Senator.
Doug Jones is now a U.S. Senator. The historic moment marked with a ceremony in the Senate chamber and reenacted later for the cameras. Jones says this is an honor, telling us that for this momentous occasion, he wore his mentor, Senator Howell Heflin's cufflinks, bearing his initials.
He is with me in spirit, for sure.
Jones supporters also made the trip, including family friends Tracy Smith and Catherine Owens from Birmingham.
We did not want to miss this for them. We wanted to be here to support them as much as we were back home.
Jones is picking up a new title in Washington, but we asked him what he carried with him from his Fairfield, Alabama roots.
I hope I just simply bring an element of trying to talk to people and work with people. I think that's the biggest thing that I grew up with and learned from my dad and others, that in order to get things done, You've got to work with people. You just can't, talk to them and tell them exactly what you want. You've got to try to listen.
He says a big part of his role will be listening, and he plans to come back to Alabama to do that. Today is Jones's first trip to Washington since the election, and he says he knows that there's a lot to do, but stepping into the Senate role for him feels like a dream. In Washington, D.C., Kristen Conner, WHNT News 19.
1, 2, 3. Princess Kushi!
Tuesday, it's all smiles for Kushi Patel, or shall we say, Her Royal Highness.
Perfect.
Joined by her royal family, Make-A-Wish of Alabama is sprinkling that fairy dust.
I played in glitter. I did makeup.
With some volunteer ladies-in-waiting and attendants transforming 9-year-old Kushi into a princess for the day.
I have a dress, a scepter,
and a crown that fits perfectly.
It's like a miracle and amazing. It's like a dream.
Kushi's family knows about dreams. They've made their own wishes for her on her worst days.
Chemotherapy, radiation therapy, bone marrow transplant.
Everyone wants this day to be one of her very best.
Out of all that, God blessing, and she's right here. Everything is fine.
She's not seeing herself as a sick child. And that's what really Make-A-Wish is about, is to take whatever pain and whatever struggles that the child or the family's going through, is for them to completely forget it, and I think we hit it.
As the royal photo shoot comes to a close, Kushi meets her prince, and her chariot awaits.
Up next is Princess Kushi!
To start the procession, bringing this princess to her people, who celebrate her with pride.
That's the blessing of God.
Kushi waves alongside her family, a true princess surveying her kingdom.
Thank you for everybody for making my wish come true.
In the fairy tale land of Huntsville, Kristen Conner, WHNT News 19.